What's going on? Welcome in, guys. Farzin Vasugian here with you on a Thursday edition of the Chief Zone podcast. But a day later than we usually do it because of the circumstances this week, and that is the Chiefs playing on Monday Night Football this week against the Jaguars. So everything is pushed back one day. The Chiefs had their press conference, their Wednesday press conference on a Thursday this week. And so they start their practice week today, and that'll go on through Saturday. Sunday will be their walkthrough. All Sunday will also be their travel day to Jacksonville. And of course, we will have the game Monday night to wrap up week 5 between the Chiefs and the Jaguars. Appreciate you guys joining me on this Thursday night. I'm getting ahead of myself here. Hope you're all having a great week. Getting closer to the weekend. In fact, week 5 is starting right now. It is going to start with the 49ers and the Rams, and it'll wrap up with the Chiefs and the Jaguars. That is on right now. So for those of you choosing to listen or watch me over the game or both, which is always a possibility, appreciate you guys doing that tonight. Who you guys got today? 49ers or the Rams? I think that's kind of a dumb question. Got to go with the Rams, right? Got to go with the Rams. Well, if you guys want to attend the game Monday night or any other Chiefs game, or in fact, you got a lot of options, not just Chiefs football, NFL football. You've got the Jayhawks, the Wildcats, the Tigers. College basketball going to be coming up very soon. NHL preseason already underway. You also have the NBA coming up very soon. Baseball playoffs, did I mention that already? That's going on right now. A lot of sports going on right now. And if you want to catch any of the action in person, get your tickets at SeatGeek. And if you're a new customer, use my promo code FARZINE and you will save $20 off your first purchase from SeatGeek. Go to SeatGeek.com, pick your tickets, and at checkout, new customers can enter my promo code FARZINE and save $20 off their first order from SeatGeek. Yeah, 49ers are depleted. Yeah, I agree. I feel like that's the big kicker here in this game. Christian McCaffrey, I mean, listen, running backs, especially in today's NFL, I guess you could say this for a lot, not every running back, but a lot of running backs over the years, but it feels like more and more you see a lot of running backs, their best years are short-lived. Very rarely you see like a Derrick Henry who continues to do it for several years. I think Saquon Barkley looks like he's going to have that as well. Christian McCaffrey coming off that injury. Yeah, see, they're already going to him twice so far today. Run on the first play and a screen on the second. So that's who they're going to be relying on. And, you know, it helps that you have Mac Jones, who's got some experience. Not saying Mac Jones is going to help them or anything like that, but at least there's something there because they don't have a whole lot to work with. I'll be honest, I did not realize Mac Jones was there. I thought he was in Jacksonville. Was he for 1 year? I don't remember exactly the timeline to where he got traded there and left there, but that's the way it's panned out for some guys. Because I still remember New England. They looked like a team. Yeah, a lot of you guys are saying the Rams. I remember the Patriots back in 2021, I think. Yeah, that was the year after Cam Newton. The Patriots had the number 1 seed at one point or in early December. Then they just crashed and lost a bunch of games. I think 6 of their last 8, including the blowout playoff loss against the Bills. So you thought Mac Jones was going in the right direction at the very least, and then just could never recover from that. That'll happen to you. It's weird. Mac Jones has moved around. Bailey Zappi, who they were trying to give. Yeah, see, look, they're just going to Christian McCaffrey. Yeah, I hope he doesn't get run to the ground, but wouldn't surprise me if that happens. Not a whole lot to get to here on this episode of the Chiefs Zone podcast. Kind of a quiet week for Kansas City, which I greatly appreciate because it has been a super busy week for me. And I'll be honest, with all the craziness going on this week, I'm actually glad there was no podcast yesterday, that everything's kind of backed up one day because of the Chiefs playing on Monday night, because this has been kind of a wild week for me. And I'm ready to decompress. I've actually got a vacation coming up very soon. Definitely going to use that. But before we get into Chiefs Jaguars, do want to talk a little bit about the Chiefs and are they back? Some of you guys say yes. Some of you guys say no. just want to give my thoughts on that as we move on. And the Chiefs try to go above 500 for the first time this season. Yeah, Anthony, I see your comment about Brashard Smith. Brashard Smith got some attention today in the press conference from Andy Reid and Patrick Mahomes, and he's starting to get more involved. Brashard Smith did get some of that hype early in the offseason after he got drafted, especially with the speed and whatnot, not just locally, but nationally as well. And it looks like the Chiefs are going to use him more moving forward. I do want to talk about one team in the AFC West. And listen, spoiler alert, it's the Chargers because, number one, they're ahead of the Chiefs in the AFC West right now. But boy, is anyone betting on the Chargers now? I know 2 weeks ago I said the Chargers are likely to run away with it, especially with the 3 wins they had over. Who is that? Is that Marquez Valdes-Scantling? Who's 84 on the 49ers? No, that's Kendrick Moore. Never mind. To finish my point about the Chargers, boy, they might be in for a very long season. They lost their first game of the season last week, started the season off 3-0. They might start to lose a lot of games, and I'm surprised they're favored by the bookies here for this upcoming game. And I do want to get into the Chargers a little bit. Tyreek Hill is getting a lot of attention as well. And there are a lot of people predicting Tyreek Hill to the Chiefs in 2026. Is that going to happen? We'll touch on all of that and more here on this episode of the Chiefs Zone podcast. Real quickly here. One other thing I forgot to mention. I said this on social media. You know who the 49ers receivers are? I mentioned Kendrick Bourne. They have Marquez Valdes-Scantling. They also have Sky Moore. They have Demarcus Robinson. Dude, Patrick Mahomes has won Super Bowls with those guys. Plural, Super Bowls. I think he won 1 with Demarcus Robinson and 2 with MVS and Moore. I mean, I know Moore did not play much. I think the year of Super Bowl 58, I can't remember exactly. Last year, Sky Moore, his season ended quite early, but boy, those receivers all now playing together. I don't think Demarcus Robinson ever played with MVS and Sky Moore. I'm trying to look around the field. I'll be honest, I don't know the numbers of these new or former Chiefs on San Francisco's team. Watch. So one of them has to score right here on third down. Would they not? And there's Christian McCaffrey. But yeah, crazy to see these ex-Chiefs going around. Pat can win with scrubs. If his offensive line is blocking for him, sure, Joshua, but you got to have an offensive line. And if your receivers are Kadarius Toney, Sky Moore type of players who drop passes, then I think it'd be kind of an uphill battle to try to win football games in that manner, if we're being completely honest. You're not, listen, if a season like 2023 ever happened again to Patrick Mahomes, are you betting on the Chiefs with confidence to win the division that year? Because, or not just the division, the Super Bowl. I don't know. That is not a former Chief. That's Jake Tungus, however you say his name. He looks like a tight end, so that is definitely not a wide receiver. Yeah, I think they're using the tight ends a little more, too, than maybe some would expect. But you got to have an offensive line to work with. That's what I was just saying with the Chargers. I think you're going to see that issue very soon. So we'll see how that goes. I do want to start with asking, are the Chiefs back? Because I'm seeing a lot of people online say that the Chiefs are back now at 2-2 after blowing out the Ravens the way they did. I've seen a lot of people in the national media, those that certainly were celebrating the 0-2 start and were hoping that it was the start of a downfall for the Chiefs. They're already rescinding their celebrations. And Craig Carthen, who loves to bash the Chiefs whenever he can. He even put out an apology segment to Kansas City Chiefs fans. So a lot of people think the Chiefs are back. Here's my thing. I don't think the Chiefs are back yet. But I will say right now they are very, very close. Listen, they beat up I know last week, given what happened to the Ravens in their Monday night game, I watched that and I said, yeah, the Chiefs are going to beat the Ravens. Now, obviously, they were banged up, and some people thought they were going to get a player or two back from that defensive line, and they didn't. And they got more players hurt during the game. Not that I think the injuries during the game even mattered, because the Chiefs were already after the opening drive. They just took full control of that game. But the Chiefs just went out there and did their thing, and it really helped that Xavier Worthy came back. I think the Chiefs are very close to being back. But again, they face a Ravens team that was, I think, bottom 5 in every key defensive category. You're facing a Jaguars defense, which, first of all, Jacksonville has been a competitive team this year at 3-1. Not just that, the Jaguars, and I apologize, Jaguars, they're actually 2-2, not 3-3. Or no, I'm sorry, they're 3-1. What am I saying? For a second, I thought they were 2-2, but no, it's 3-1. I was right the first time. Anyway, to finish my comment here, Jacksonville is a better defensive team. I think this might be the best defensive team the Chiefs will face up to this point. When you look at the Jaguars, they have the reigning AFC Defensive Player of the Month. And as a unit, they're leading the league in interceptions with 9. So they're doing some things defensively that other defenses have not done that the Chiefs have gone up against up to this point. So Kansas City, I would say they're not back yet, but they're pretty close. I'd say they're 95% close to being back. And listen, I don't think they have to score 37 points again. I don't think Mahomes has to go out there and have a 4-touchdown performance like he did last week to win AFC Offensive Player of the Week, by the way. And look, I'll just tell you right now, my score prediction is 23-20. That's not, lining up the score like some would like, especially with a Worthy back. If I had to guess, because, we all know score predictions are not always 100% accurate. It's very rare that you have that. You'll have that once in a while. But here's what I will say. If I had to pick the 23 points, if I could go over or under on what I think the Chiefs are going to score, I'll take the over on that one. Maybe a little over. And I know Jacksonville, they have not faced a lot of great competition this year. I mean, they faced the Bengals, but Joe Burrow was lost early in that game. So in essence, they haven't really faced a great offensive team this year. And listen, that's not, their fault. You never apologize for winning in the NFL, regardless who you're going up against. Yes, I know they're all professionals, but let's be honest, some teams are way better than others. With that said, I still think Jacksonville is a very good defensive team, a way better team than Baltimore defensively. And they have some strengths, but they also have some weaknesses. And I think Kansas City, their offense, the Chiefs' offense, can find a way to take advantage of those weaknesses and capitalize on that and come away with a narrow win. And again, my score prediction is for this one is going to be 23-20. But the Chiefs are not back yet, but they are very, very close. They go out there and win this game. If it's 23-20, or even if it's a lower score than that, like a 17-14 type of game, I don't think it will be, but you never know. Even if it is that low scoring of a game, I'm still willing to say the Chiefs are back after this, provided there's no serious injuries coming out of this one to any key players on the Chiefs team. Because the Chiefs are going to be looking to go above 500 for the first time this season. And that's going to be really important for them. And I think one of the reasons that, or I guess one of the driving forces to help them go above 500 this year would be rookie running back Brashard Smith. And he got some more involvement with the Chiefs offense this year. Got his feet wet in the New York Giants game, had a couple of touches in that one. But even beyond the touches, he was used a lot for a decoy to where the Giants defense would zero in on him at times. So he was, that distraction, kind of like a Tyreek Hill that we've seen in the past. And that allowed the Chiefs to move the football more, especially in the second half. Then against the Baltimore Ravens, you saw Brashard Smith get some touches in this game. He got more comfortable in the offense. How much more involvement will he get moving forward? And I think a lot of people are also wondering because the running back position has not been great this year. I think Kareem Hunt has done a good job helping the Chiefs move the change in short yardage situations. But beyond that, the running game hasn't been great in a lot of people's eyes. I spoke to Ted McKnight, and he told me that he thinks part of the problem is that the Chiefs are trying to use different running styles on the offense. I found that theory to be interesting. I don't think he's wrong, actually. I really don't. I know a lot of people have talked about Pacheco's vision, and I've posted a couple of clips with the way he's operated, running the football, and not really the best look. But you're starting to see Brashard Smith get more involved. Could this guy maybe move ahead in the depth chart as the season goes on? Possibly. If you're looking, he had 26% of the offensive snaps in this game. He played 19 offensive snaps. The week before, he played 8 snaps. That's 11% of the snaps on offense. In week 2 against the Eagles, he only played 5 snaps. Week 1 played 8 snaps, same number as the Giants game, but in the Chargers game in Brazil, that was 13% of the snaps, so a little more than the Giants game where he had the same number of snaps, but more percentage because of the number of plays the Chiefs had total in that game. But Brashard Smith, I think a lot of people want to see it. They want to see him involved in the screen game, because if you have a couple of pass blockers that are out there paving the way for you, that's going to allow him to show off that breakaway speed that he has. Keep in mind, he had the 3rd fastest 40 time among all running backs at this year's scouting combine. So he has that speed, and that bodes well in an Andy Reid offense for sure. So those are the kinds of things that I think a lot of people are looking forward to with Brashard Smith on this team. Let me say one thing about Isaiah Pacheco specifically, because again, I know the complaints about him. A lot of people feel like he's not playing very well. Some are wondering if it has anything to do with last year's injury. I'm just looking at the numbers here. So he's got 32 rushes for 127 yards. He's 3 behind Patrick Mahomes, who leads the team in rushing. So Mahomes is no longer leading. I mean, he's still leading the team in rushing yards, but not by a wide margin like he was a couple of weeks ago. But here's what I will say about Pacheco. Does his vision need to be better? Yes. There was a moment in the Baltimore game where if he attacked the outside, he had Juju, who's an underrated run blocker, who would have given Pacheco a good chance to score. But instead of attacking the outside, he saw a small little hole in the C gap. And so he chose to attack that. And the Ravens defense quickly closed in and ended the play for a short gain. There was another play in week 1 against the Chargers in Brazil where Josh Simmons was down the field getting ready to block a defensive back, and all Pacheco has to do is stay on the outside near the sidelines, and Simmons will take care of that guy, no problem. It was a defensive back, I don't remember who, but when it comes to a run play, who are you putting your money on? A safety or a left tackle like Josh Simmons to win that battle? I'll take Josh Simmons any day of the week. But what Pacheco did was he cut to the inside, and that basically nullified Josh Simmons, making him useless. And so that allowed that defender, that defensive back, to close in and help end that play there. Was still a solid game, but could have gained a little more. So I think there have been some of those complaints about Pacheco. Now, numbers alone, I mentioned 32 carries, 127 yards. You do the simple math there. He's averaging 4 yards a carry. That's not magnificent, but it's also not bad either. You'd like to, the way running backs are judged is if your yard per carry average is 4 yards or above, if it's not below 4 yards a carry, that's good. Pacheco's averaging exactly 4 yards a carry. And here's another thing. I'll defend Pacheco on this. Don't get me wrong. Pacheco has to improve. Right now, I've been talking about that. But I'm just looking at the number of carries he's had. He had 5 against the Chargers, 10 against Philly, 10 against the Giants, 7 against Baltimore. Now, in the Giants game, in the Eagles game, he averaged 2.2 yards a carry. That's bad. Really, really bad. But against the Chargers, he averaged 5 yards a carry. Against the Giants, 4.5 yards a carry. Against the Ravens, 5 yards a carry. Now, his longest run of the season is 12 yards. So we're not seeing the Pacheco that we've seen in the past, like we saw on Sunday Night Football a couple of years ago, where he had that, I think it was like a 40 or a 50-yard run against the Jets. But I'm looking at, some of the games he's had in the past. So let's look at 2023, the last full healthy season Pacheco had with the Chiefs. He ran 8 times against Detroit. Okay, that's understandable because the Chiefs were playing from behind for most of that game. Against the Jaguars, 12 carries, 70 yards. Chicago, 15 carries, 62 yards. The Jets, the one I was referencing, it was a 48-yard run. 20 carries, 115 yards. 16 carries against the Vikings, 16 against the Broncos, 13 against the Chargers, 8 against Denver, 16 against Miami in the Frankfurt game, Frankfurt, Germany. He's had double-digit runs in every single game except for 2. One was against Detroit. The other was against Denver. Both were losses. If you remember, the Denver loss was when Mahomes had the flu, and that was his first career loss to Denver, his only one up to this point. I think the problem with Pacheco is that he's not getting a lot of opportunities. And I talked to J.C. Pearson about this. And by the way, we've played some of these interviews on my social media, and we'll continue to play them as the week goes on. J.C. Pearson had an interesting theory as well. He said that he thinks they're trying to keep both running backs happy, referring to Pacheco and Kareem Hunt. Listen, I know the story with Kareem Hunt, and we saw it in the franchise, the docuseries, The Kingdom. I know the story with Kareem Hunt. A lot of people are excited that he's getting a second chance, and it looks like he's in a much different place now than he was about 7 or 8 years ago when that incident happened and the Chiefs kicked him off the team. But I think we have to come to terms that Kareem Hunt is not the same running back he once was. He might have a good game or two. I'm not saying he can't. I'm not saying he's useless, not at all. And I've said this many, many times. He's been very helpful in those short yardage situations. That's what he did last year. I know last year, when you look at Kareem Hunt's numbers, they don't necessarily stand out, nothing impressive. But if you actually watch the games, and yes, there's more to looking at box scores, you got to watch the games. Kareem Hunt did a lot to help the Chiefs offense. Again, short yardage situations where the Chiefs really needed a conversion on 3rd or 4th downs. And the Chiefs have been aggressive this year. They're one of the top teams in the NFL going for it on 4th down. And I'll pull up that number because that is pretty significant when you consider the way they've been aggressive this year. In fact, I'll try to look it up right now because that is that's pretty key for the Chiefs. Yeah, the Chiefs are they're tied second for most 4th down attempts. They're tied with the Jets. If you're wondering who's first, it's the Panthers. If you want me to read to you the top 6, it's the Panthers with 11, Chiefs and Jets tied with 10, and then the Giants, Lions, and Browns each have 9. So the Chiefs, certainly one of the more aggressive teams this year in terms of going for it on 4th down. We saw them go for it on 4th down fairly in their own territory to start the second half against the Eagles, and it was a short distance, so you didn't need much, but unfortunately they failed in that instance there. My whole thing with the Chiefs is that I think they've got to give Pacheco more opportunity. Like, you got to pick one. I think Pacheco is the better option, and Kareem Hunt is someone that you use more for short distances or for the red zone. Because I think you've got to just understand, look, you can't just give participation trophies all around. Pick a primary guy, stick with him, give him more carries. Now, again, not saying the other running backs are not worth anything. They absolutely are. But I think everyone's just got to have a role on this team from that running back position. And I listen, I understand. You're on a pass-heavy team that has Patrick Mahomes, and you've got all these great weapons at the wide receiver position that a lot of people are taking note of. Everyone took note of Tyquan Thornton and what he's done the last couple of weeks prior to last week. I mean, don't get me wrong, he had only had one catch. That one catch was for a touchdown to help the Chiefs increase their lead. Xavier Worthy came back. Everyone's been talking about that one, talking about the Kansas City Chiefs this week. Hollywood Brown, Juju Smith-Schuster, they picked up the slack when Worthy was out. Rice is, still out. And they're still continuing to get more involved. So I get it. This is a pass-first team. Travis Kelce's also on the team. Don't forget about him. I know Noah Grace had a very quiet start to the season statistically, but I would guess that he would get going at some point. So I think at the end of the day, and I see your comment, Joshua, in all caps, trade for a running back. Maybe, not going to dismiss that. Never say never. But I just think Kansas City, specifically Andy Reid, and I know he kind of deflected to Matt Nagy earlier this week on play calling, which I thought was interesting. But I just think that you can maybe do Pacheco a little bit of a favor and give him more opportunities, give him more touches. Because if you do that, then he can have opportunities to show off big numbers. And maybe he'll have a run that's longer than 12 yards, which has been his longest. Kareem Hunt's longest has been 11. Brashard Smith's longest has been 8. Xavier Worthy's only run the ball 3 times. His longest was for 35. Patrick Mahomes has a long scramble of 22. I'm sure he's got another scramble longer than what Pacheco has. Kareem Hunt has 11 first downs. Pacheco has 6. Mahomes has 10. So give Pacheco more opportunities, because I think if you do that, maybe you'll start to see a balance on this football team. Look, I get it. I get a lot of comments. Hey, where's Nico Remigio? Where is Robert Tonyan? Why isn't Elijah Mitchell getting an opportunity? Why are we not seeing Jason Brownlee? Like, I've been getting some of those comments. Listen, when Rashee Rice comes back in a couple of weeks, who are your running backs going to be? I'm assuming, first of all, I'm assuming Jason Brownlee's going to be the odd man out on the 53-man roster, because you got to demote somebody for Rice to come back, unfortunately. And he might return to the practice squad. He might get picked up by another team. Who knows? But when Rice comes back, who are your running backs? Pacheco, Hunt, Smith, and Mitchell is still part of the team. Who are your tight ends? Kelce and Gray. Who are your wide receivers? Well, you got a lot, even with Rice coming back. You got Rice, got Worthy, Hollywood, Thornton, Juju, Nico Remigio, Jalen Royals, who we've yet to see get targeted, if I'm not mistaken. And a lot of people feel like Jalen Royals, once he gets into a rhythm, he can contribute. I mean, have you not seen the number of players I've mentioned there? Not everyone can have 6 or 7 catches for 100 yards and also let the running backs all get 15 touches for 100 yards also. I mean, not everyone's going to be able to get involved statistically. And listen, I understand some of this might be betting purposes, fantasy football complaints and whatnot, but I told you guys this in the offseason. I think this 2025 Chiefs team is going to be similar to the 2022 Chiefs team, where you didn't have a standout wide receiver. Travis Kelce had a great 2022 season. Did Marquette, who grabbed that? Was that DeMarcus Robinson? He caught it, but he was out of bounds. That was actually a nice effort. My whole thing is that not everyone can thrive. Right now, the Chiefs' running game is not looking good. I think the numbers certainly don't make it look bad, but when you see that Pacheco has not had a big run, it frustrates some fans, and people feel like there's an imbalance with this offense. I don't disagree. Right now, like, your passing game is a far bigger strength than your running game. And I think once Rice comes back, well, again, when Rice comes back, and I see your comment, Jeremy, like, yeah, that receiver room is going to go off. And I'm excited to see that. Hopefully all the players at the receiver position stay healthy in the next couple of weeks, because we need to see that. And I also think, and I said this last year when the wide receiver trio was advertised. We're 2 games away from seeing that wide receiver trio happen. Hopefully. I think the running backs can benefit from it, because if you're going to run a 11 personnel offense, meaning you have 3 receivers, a tight end, and a running back, the defense has to respect all that speed that's going to be on the field, because it's going to be either Travis Kelce or Noah Gray as your tight end, and your receivers, you can have a lot of different combinations from Rice, Worthy, Thornton, Royals, Hollywood, Juju. I mean, you've got a lot of different options there. So if the defense can no longer stack the box and they're spread out a little more, I think that'll help Pacheco. That's the only thing I can really bank on right now as to what can get the running game going. And again, I'm hearing all these different theories. I spoke to some former Chiefs earlier this week and at the Durant Cherry golf event, and there are a lot of different theories and opinions as to why the running game is not going. I just feel like, one, Andy Reid's got to call more run plays, and number 2, I think he can help out more once you have Rice back. If I had to bet on it, are the Chiefs going to trade for a running back? I hate to give this answer. I'm kind of 50-50 on this, more leaning towards no if I had to place a bet. I just think that this Chiefs team, I don't think they're going to be a great running team in general this year, unless Rice's return is going to really make that big of a difference. Jackie says, I don't mind them not having the typical standout guy. It's a team. Use every player as much as possible. Keeps it harder for the defenders. And that's fine. I think the Chiefs are perfectly fine with that, because last year when you had this offense and that wide receiver trio that was being advertised up until the very first preseason snap when Hollywood got hurt, and then Rice also got hurt early in the season. Worthy was still growing as a receiver. DeAndre Hopkins, his presence helped, but he couldn't get involved as much as he would have liked because he was still learning the offense as the season went on. My prediction last year was that the Chiefs were going to look a lot like the 2018 offense, where they had the 3rd highest scoring output in NFL history. Could they revert to that? Yes, I think that's possible, especially when Rice comes back. But for right now, I think this team without Rice looks like the 2022 offense, where there's no clear-cut number 1 wide receiver, or not even a number 1 pass catcher, because Travis Kelce, let's be honest, is not what he once was. But a lot of different guys are going to get involved. One guy will have 80, 90, or 100 receiving yards one game. Could be Worthy one week, Kelce the next, Rice the following, Hollywood the next, then back to Worthy, then back to Thornton. That's just the way this offensive scheme is going to operate. That's just the way it's going to work out. I do want to touch a little bit on some non-Chiefs topics here. The Chargers. Obviously, Chiefs fans, we're keeping a close eye on the Chargers because they're ahead of the Chiefs. The gap between the Chargers and the Chiefs felt like a lot, especially because they got off that 3-0 start and the Chiefs were 1-2. Now, all of a sudden, the Chargers dropped that game unexpectedly to the Giants. The Chiefs are at 2-2, 1 game behind the Giants. Technically 2 games because the Chargers do have the tiebreaker over the Chiefs. Again, it's early. I recognize that. But that is the way things stand right now. But the big kicker here is that the Chargers don't really have much of an offensive line right now. No Rashawn Slater, no Joe Alt. Slater's out for the season. Alt's going to be out for several weeks, according to reports. This offensive line, I don't know if Herbert's going to survive. This is going to be a rough season. I mean, look at the Giants and what they did. And we're talking about the Giants. The Giants do have some good players on that defense, but in general, they're not a good defensive team when you look at their overall body of work. When you look at the Chargers at the moment, they have about 2 or 3 backup offensive linemen starting for them. And that's not a short-term issue. This is going to be an issue for the Chargers for quite some time. So it is kind of a surprise to me that the Chargers are 2.5-point betting favorites. And I understand Washington kind of has their issues right now, especially with Jaden Daniels, Terry McLaurin. They're not the healthiest team at the moment. But this is a Chargers team I have a hard time trusting. Like, would you bet on the Chargers to cover or win this game? Probably not. Because if a defense can capitalize on an offensive line's mishaps, boy, that can really change the complexion of a game. Kansas City knows this very well. It doesn't matter if you have Patrick Mahomes and a bunch of speed at the wide receiver position. If you do not have an offensive line, you're going to get torched. It's not going to end well for your quarterback. It's just not. Listen, Chargers got off to a hot start. I think Justin Herbert was playing great to start the year, but not having an offensive line, that's a serious thing. I mean, unless you are Superman and you're literally putting on a cape and flying above the defense, this is not going to end well. It's just not. Andrew says Chargers are a fraud. Herbert will eventually show. Listen, I don't think the Chargers are a fraud. It's just that right now they're dealing with a lot of injuries. I mean, again, we saw what happened to the Chiefs when they have their issues. And I know the Chiefs have made it through many, many times with bad offensive tackle play, but we've also seen that when you have backup offensive, and I'm considering Joe Tooney as a backup left tackle because let's be honest, that's not his natural position. There's a reason why he went back to left guard in Chicago. And you also had Mike Caliendo there, who I think did well in the regular season, but struggled in the postseason. That is a serious thing. When you run into a team in the postseason, one of them will take advantage of it, just like how the Bucs took advantage of Kansas City's backup offensive line in Super Bowl 55. So this is going to be a very long season. Start off great, but now it's going to be a long season for that Chargers team. I think it's going to be a long season. Last thing before we go to break and break down the game between the Chiefs and the Jaguars, Tyreek Hill obviously suffered a devastating injury, multiple ligaments torn. I'm already seeing people say that he's coming to Kansas City in 2026. The Miami Dolphins are going to move on from him, either trade him or cut him, and that the Chiefs can acquire him to a cheap deal. First of all, I don't think the Dolphins are going to give up on Tyreek Hill that easily. They'll trade him. They'll 100% trade him in hopes that someone would pick up that contract, a team that's desperate for a wide receiver. Second of all, that is if Tyreek Hill is ready and set to listen. I think it's a torn ACL and some other ligaments as well. Like this is a very devastating knee injury for Tyreek. To the point, again, October just started. Okay, this was a couple nights ago. Tyreek Hill might not be ready to go for training camp next year. This is how long the recovery process will be for him. Let's say the Dolphins are willing to trade him to Kansas City. I've got to be honest. Number one, contractually, he's not going to take a cheap deal. Look, we all know about Tyreek Hill's personal situation. He's got a bunch of kids with a lot of different mamas. You need a lot of money, man. I'm not trying to be rude. I'm just being straightforward here. Jeremy also mentions, yeah, he's going to be 32. He's going to be much older. The other part of it, Tyreek Hill, I feel like has slowed down a little bit. I mean, listen, he's still fast, but he's not cheetah fast, if you know what I mean. If only there was an option for the Chiefs. Let's see. Someone who's fast, someone who's dynamic, someone who might be younger. Oh, yeah, that guy's name is Tyquan Thornton. And listen, I know Tyquan Thornton's probably not going to have a lot of great stats on a consistent basis moving forward, especially once Rice comes back. But with all the things you guys are describing, keep one thing in mind. Rice is gonna, I think, have one more year left on his rookie deal after this year. Worthy is still on a rookie deal. You have Royals on a rookie deal. We'll see what happens with Hollywood Brown and Juju Smith-Schuster, who are on one-year deals. Tyquan Thornton is also on a one-year deal. I would much rather re-sign Tyquan Thornton than try to get Tyreek Hill. Tyquan is younger. I think he'll be faster next year than Tyreek. Younger, more reliable for sure. I think you've just got to go with what you listen. I know Tyreek's meant a lot to this franchise and he's done a lot of great things, but this at some point you just got to learn to move on. I know I said that about the Kareem Hunt thing, but Kareem Hunt was not about to turn 32 either. So I think that's one big difference there. Teresa has a very good point. Tyreek injury looked a lot like the Tank Dell injury which took place here at Arrowhead. Tank Dell is still out due to a medical setback during recovery. Yeah, that's another thing to consider. Listen, I hope Tyreek Hill's going to be okay. I mean, he's a man with kids, a lot of kids. Okay, but I think for the time being, he's a Miami Dolphin, and he will stay a Miami Dolphin unless someone's willing to take that hefty contract, because he's not going to renegotiate. Okay, he's not. I remember Fox 4 interviewed Tyreek Hill, and they asked him, because the Chiefs have, restructured contracts over the years. Tyreek admitted that the Chiefs approached him about restructuring a deal, and Tyreek admitted he declined. So why would he do it now, especially at this stage in his life? Let's be honest. He needs that money far more than he needs a ring. And again, I'm not trying to be rude. That's the truth. That matters when you consider all of these things. Yeah, Worthy does have that fifth-year option, but that's ways away. My point is, you still have Rice for next year, Worthy for next year, Royals for next year. And if you bring back Tyquan Thornton, I think that's a good top receiver 1 through 4 on your list. I think that's pretty good. As for who they bring in for depth, I don't know. Maybe they bring back Juju and Hollywood. We'll see. Certainly would make free agency in the draft a little easier, and you can focus on other positions for sure. But I just feel like in the meantime, the Tyreek discussions need to be put to rest. He's not coming to Kansas City in the offseason on a cheaper deal because of this injury. That's not going to happen. It's not going to happen. What is going on with the Rams? Man, are they really letting Mac Jones beat him up like this? They're going for it 4th down, not the first down there. Come on, man, let's pick it up. My Thursday Night Football record's perfect this year. I'd like to keep it that way. I don't want to lose it on October the 2nd. So Mac Jones is beating up on this Rams team. Okay. Pick it up, Rams. Let's go. We're going to take a quick time out and give a shout out to our newest sponsor, DraftKings Sportsbook. Missouri, the wait is almost over. DraftKings Sportsbook, America's top-rated sportsbook app, is coming to the Show Me State. New Missouri customers can download the DraftKings Sportsbook app today. And when we go live, just place a $5 bet to unlock $300 in bonus bets. Starting November 17, you can create your DraftKings Sportsbook app in Missouri and get ready for launch day on December 1st. DraftKings Sportsbook brings everything you need to elevate your game day, including live in-game betting, lightning-fast payouts, and endless ways to get in on the action. All right from your phone. And when we officially go live in Missouri, you'll be betting on the Sportsbook app trusted by millions. Safe, secure, and has fast money withdrawals. Download the DraftKings Sportsbook app now and grab $300 in bonus bets with just a $5 bet when we go live on December 1st in partnership with DraftKings Sportsbook.
Gambling problem? Call 1-800-GAMBLER. 21 and over. Physically present in Missouri. Eligibility restrictions apply. Bonus bets expire 7 days after issuance. Excludes customers who redeem pre-launch sign-up offer. Terms at sportsbook.draftkings.com/promos.
The hell are the Rams doing? What are they doing? Oh, come on. That's like a simple pitch right there. This might be a long night for the Rams. This might be a really long night for the Rams. Hey, listen, before we get into the Chiefs and Jaguars game, I do want to give a shout out and congratulate Duron Cherry on everything he had this weekend. They had their Duron Cherry Foundation Celebrity Tailgate event and auction that night on Saturday. Really great event. This is my second time attending the event. I'm already looking forward to it next year. I've been kind of pestering their executive director, Erin, who is wonderful, by the way, super awesome. She's been great to us and also been generous with her time, but kind of been annoying her. You know, when's the date next year? Do you know? And by the way, let me just say this real quickly about Erin, because they don't like to brag, but I'll do it for them. You know, there are a lot of managers for like foundations or guys who represent a former player, and they're just not easy to deal with. And Erin and her team at the Duron Cherry Foundation, they're all really great people. I got to meet more of them this week, and they really are great people. I also got to meet Duron's family for the first time. Duron's wife, Hope, had actually commented many times on the Facebook page. Sweet lady, very, very nice. As a matter of fact, I was sitting at the same table as Duron's wife, and also they had a family friend, same table as us as well. They had a couple of kids who really wanted to meet all of the Chiefs legends who were there. Bobby Bell, Priest Holmes, Christian Okoye, Bill Moss, who's going to go into the Chiefs Hall of Fame this year. So many Chiefs legends who were there. Neil Smith. You know, kids can get a little nervous wanting to approach these big guys. And Hope, Duron's wife, super sweet lady. She grabbed the family friends' kids and also grabbed their football and their Sharpie and was like, come on, you're going to meet these people. So that was super cool of her. Usually the wives and girlfriends of family members try to serve as like a wall or a shield for these kinds of things. But that was nice to see. It's always nice to see that kind of thing, especially for the kids. That definitely made their day, and I'm sure they bragged about it to their friends in school. And then my favorite part of the night, Duron surprised a young man by the name of Noah. Noah, who I know he also, I don't know if he's watching right now. He's commented on this page many times. Really, really nice dude. Got a chance to meet him at last year's foundation event that they had for the celebrity tailgate. He introduced himself to me, said that he actually watches the podcast, which I thought was really cool. And I've kept in touch with him over the year. And this young man has, at the age of 2 or 3, I apologize, I don't know, remember the exact age, but he faced adversity and had to battle brain cancer. And this has happened multiple times, to my understanding. And, you know, he's been given a small chance to overcome the odds. And guess what? He overcame the odds. Air horns for that. And really cool thing, Noah and Duron have a great relationship. They've known each other for years. They have the same birthday, September the 12th. And Duron at the event surprised Noah with 2 tickets to the Chiefs and Ravens game on this past Sunday. And when the Chiefs were destroying the Ravens, I thought about Noah and the fact that he got to enjoy that moment right there. Got to watch a really sweet game. I mean, it's always great to see people get free tickets from players, former players. That's always awesome, especially people who've gone through a lot. And you know, when the team loses, you feel a little bad. But when they win like that, you know, people like Noah definitely got to enjoy that, and I'm sure he appreciated that even more. So that was really cool to see. That was my favorite part of the night, seeing Noah get surprised with those tickets right there. Everyone erupted, went crazy for him. So that was a really special moment. And like I said, Duron and his family, great people. I met Duron's son, his brother, mentioned his wife earlier. They're all really great people. So wanted to give a shout out and a congratulations to Duron and his foundation and his team and all the great work that they have done. 33 years they've had the celebrity golf tournament, and they've been very generous to me and allowing me to connect with some of the other Chiefs alums that they know. So I do have to mention that to them and shout them out in that manner because, like I said, they've been very gracious to me, and I've enjoyed this partnership with them, and we'll definitely continue that in the future. So keep it locked because anytime they've got an event, a watch party, those kinds of things, they've had a few of those. They had a watch party for the first game this year, and I heard that was a good time. Would love to attend. It's just hard to do because of what I do with pre and post game podcasts. But if you get a chance to attend, I definitely recommend you guys go. MVS just dropped a pass. Really? Andrew, I do not believe you. MVS dropped a pass. Really? What, is that him, 84? I thought 84 was Kendrick Bourne. Hold on. 49ers roster. I just want to make sure. MVS is 83. So unless it was a play before and I just missed it, I mean, come on. Yeah, the fact that he's not on the list of nominees for the Hall of Fame is insane, but that's a topic for another time. By the way, we are going to have a gentleman on who is working on a documentary on Jim Tyre. I've had the opportunity to talk to a couple of former Chiefs, Trent Green and Jan Stenerud. Met Jan Stenerud. That was an honor. Like, you don't get to meet a lot of people from that Super Bowl 14 because, unfortunately, some of those players have passed and moved on. But whenever you get a chance to meet someone from that team, it truly is an honor. And being able to talk to them, Jan was very kind to me. We got to talk for a few minutes. And yeah, that was an MVS. I think that was somebody else. You learn a lot just from talking to him. And it was really nice getting a chance to talk to Jan. We talked about Jim Tyre. Jan Stenerud nominated Jim Tyre again. And Jim Tyre came very close to getting elected into the Pro Football Hall of Fame last year. I'd be very curious to see what happens with it this year. So we'll talk to a gentleman who's been working on a documentary on Jim Tyre and has been working closely with Jim Tyre's family. We're going to try to do that during the bye week. It's going to be a very interesting conversation. So be on the lookout for that when that time comes. In the meantime, let's talk some Chiefs Jaguars. Monday Night Football. This is going to be on ESPN. Your favorite announcers in the whole wide world, Joe Buck and Troy Aikman, are going to be calling this game. Brad Rogers will be the referee. He was the ref in the Chiefs Saints Monday Night Football game last year and also was the official in the Dolphins playoff game the year before. The Chiefs opened up as 3-point betting favorites. Now that's moved up a little bit to 3.5. They are 175 money line favorites, whereas the Jags are plus 145 underdogs, and the over-under for this game is at 46.5. Liam Cohen is the head coach in his first year with the Jags, and I think he's off to a solid start. And trying to earn that Coach of the Year award. Was the offensive coordinator for the Bucks in college football for Kentucky, and then with the Rams before that. Actually has a good connection with the Rams. Spent a good amount of time with them, so he's definitely familiar with Sean McVay. And that's his. And by the way, go ahead and give your score predictions to the game below. I'll read those as we get to the end here. As far as the injury report goes, it's looking good for the Kansas City Chiefs because they had everyone practice. Only one player was limited, and that was Christian Fulton. Mike Dana was a full participant after not being full last week. He was limited last week, and that might bode well for him because he might be going up against a left tackle that's not very good for Jacksonville. Whereas the Jaguars injury report, Yasir Abdullah, the linebacker, did not practice. One of their key edge rushers, Trayvon Walker, just had wrist surgery. He is expected to play. I would imagine he might play with, a big wrap or one of those clubs. We'll see what they end up doing. It's not official yet, but the expectation is he is going to play against the Chiefs. And then they have several other players on the injury report. That includes Eric Murray, former Chiefs draft pick from, I think, the 4th round in 2016. There's also a rookie running back, Bashal Tutin, who was drafted this year, one of the running backs I had an eye on. And they had a few other guys who were limited in practice as well. Their offensive coordinator is Grant Udinski, 29 years old. 29 years old, and he's an offensive coordinator already. That's actually impressive. First year as an offensive coordinator, was formerly with the Vikings and the Panthers as an offensive assistant. When you look at the Jags under their young OC, 10th in total offense, 4th in running the football. 18th in throwing it. They're tied 16th in points per game with 24. KC just above them, tied 14th with 24.3 points per game. They're 26th in third down efficiency, and they're 21st in red zone opportunities. So certainly some positive, but also some negatives on this Jaguars offense. Trevor Lawrence, I know this is a guy who was tabbed to be a once-in-a-generation quarterback, and I understand he's gone through so many different head coaches in his short time in Jacksonville, but we're just not seeing that come to fruition. We're just not. He has 5 touchdowns, 4 picks. Those 4 picks are tied for the 4th most this year. He's also got 832 passing yards. Coming off a game where he threw no picks for the first time this season. Now, I think where they might thrive and an area that they've got to utilize the most if they want to pull off an upset here is their running back. Travis Etienne Jr. had a very quiet season last year, unlike his first 2 years where he had 1,000 yards rushing each season. Travis Etienne Jr. seems to be back. He's 3rd in rushing yards with 394 yards. That is 20 yards shy of Jonathan Taylor, who's the league leader right now. I believe James Cook is 2nd on that list. Don't quote me on that. But Travis Etienne is back this year. I can say that for a fact. He's been very good this season for the Jaguars. He's averaging 6.1 yards per carry. That's the best in the NFL among running backs, starting running backs. I mean, you might have a running back that maybe had only 1 or 2 runs and they were both big. Yeah, their yard per carry average might be bigger than Etienne's, but Travis Etienne, man, I mean, he's been very consistent this year, and he's the only back that's averaging more than 6 yards a carry. He ran 19 times for 124 yards and a touchdown against the 49ers this past week. He was kept in check against the Houston Texans, ran for just 65 yards off 16 carries. Did end up scoring in that one, though. These last 2 weeks, he's had a touchdown each game. Those are the only 2 touchdowns he's had this season. So I think if the the Jaguars, if they want to pull off an upset here, Travis Etienne Jr. has to be a big part of their game plan, and they have to utilize the game on the ground. And I'll make a bold prediction right now, because I said this week. The Chiefs have not allowed a running back to run for 100 yards this season. That, I think, will come to an end in this game. I think Travis Etienne Jr. will have 100 yards rushing against Kansas City. And I think that's why the Jags will make it close, as my score prediction indicates. Joshua beat me to this. Their leading pass catcher is tight end Brenton Strange. I'll be honest, I had to Google Brenton Strange. He's had 19 catches on the season for 182 yards. No touchdowns this season, but a great run blocker for Jacksonville. And that's a big reason why the Jaguars offense has been good. He's their leading pass catcher, and he's also a very important blocker for that running game. He's had 6 catches off 7 targets each of the last 2 games, totaling for 106 yards. So number-wise, in terms of the yardage, not high in a 2-game span, but for a tight end, that's actually pretty good. And considering the consistency there, Trevor Lawrence, he depends on him and trusts him the most on this offense. The other tight end, Hunter Long, he's got 2 touchdown catches off 6 total receptions on the season, leading the team in touchdown catches. So someone who they use in the red zone, someone the Chiefs definitely need to be aware of once the Jags get into the red zone here. Brian Thomas, their wide receiver, 12 catches for 164 yards, got his first touchdown of the season against the 49ers. There's also that sensational rookie, Travis Hunter. We saw all the things he did when he was at Colorado. He's got 13 catches for 118 yards. No touchdowns this season. He had 4 catches for 63 yards in the last 2 games combined. He's played some defense as well. Did not play much defense in weeks 1 and 4. In week 1, he played 9% of the defensive snaps. In week 4, he played 14% of the defensive snaps. But in weeks 2 and 3, he played at least 60% of the defensive snaps here. In total, he's played 58% of the offensive snaps and 39% of the defensive snaps this year. Listen, I don't ever like when people tell a player they can't do something. I know one reason I'm a big fan of Baker Mayfield is because This guy has been told, oh, he can't do things because of his behavior and whatnot at Oklahoma. And I've just never been a big fan of that. And I hate it. Listen, I don't feel bad for players often because they're making a lot of money. But what happened at Baker in Cleveland, that was BS. And I'm glad to see him having the success he's having in Tampa. Looks like he's found a home in Tampa. The same thing with Travis Hunter. I don't like that there are a lot of naysayers about Travis Hunter and his ability to play both offense and defense. At the same time, I think it's going to be hard to get into a rhythm because, listen, players don't like to be driven to the ground. They don't. It's already enough on one side of the ball. You do it on both sides? That is difficult. Not saying he's not capable. I'm sure he's a great wide receiver and a great defensive back. But if you want to play in this league, you've got to stick to one and be great at that. A lot of people think he'll be a better wide receiver than a better defensive back. And I agree with that. And in fact, I think if you want to make a lot of money in the NFL, that's probably the place to go, would be to play more offense than defense. But if you want to really force a coach's hand and play both offensive and defensively, I mean, I don't know game plan wise how you even set up for that because offensive meetings and defensive meetings are happening at the same time. So that's one thing to consider. I would imagine that gets planned as the week goes on, but I don't know, like long term, is it sustainable to play some offense and some defense? Because then when it comes time to trying to earn yourself a big contract, how are you going to convince any team to pay you big money when you're doing good on some offensive snaps and doing good on some defensive snaps? It's not like pitching where, oh, okay, you can throw both left and right-handed. I mean, it's not like that. It's a totally different ball game. It's not like Shohei Ohtani, pitching and batting. That's not what this is here. This is a whole different animal. But I think he's gonna have a difficult time in this game, regardless if he's going against Kansas City's defensive backs or if he's going against Kansas City's defense. I would guess, given his workload, that they're going to have him focus on offense than defense. So I don't think they want to put a young rookie against all the speed that they have, because you already are seeing veterans struggle keeping up with the Chiefs offense, especially with Worthy back. So I don't think Travis Hunter is going to be seeing much time as a defensive back in this game. We'll see what happens with Tootin and also De'Ami Brown, another guy that's been active on their offense. Another player, by the way, to keep an eye on this offensive unit is running back LeQuint Allen. He's also part of the special teams unit, return unit. He's a great pass blocker. He's only got 3 catches for 20 yards. So I wouldn't be surprised if they try to activate him in some way to use him as chip blocks and also throw to him. Defenses usually fall for that, even in the NFL. So I'm curious to see how the Jaguars try to utilize LeQuint Allen in this game. So that's another player to keep an eye on in this game. Quick look at their offensive line. Walker Little, he is tied 10th in the NFL for most pressures allowed with 14. If Mike Dana plays, that is who he is expected to go up against. So I would imagine that the Chiefs might even try to change things up and put Karlaftis on that side. Charles Omenihu has gotten off to a very slow start this season. Maybe this is a possible game where he gets right. That's one thing to just be aware of. As far as the other offensive linemen, their center, Robert Hainsey, one of the best centers in the league. And they also have right tackle Anton Henderson, a really good right tackle for the Jaguars. Let's switch over to the defensive side and look at their defensive coordinator, Anthony Campanile, linebackers and run game coordinator for the Packers previously. Was also with Miami, also coached a lot of college and high school. This is his first year as a defensive coordinator. So again, a staff where you're seeing a lot of guys in new spots they've never been in before, and that includes their defensive coordinator. You look at their defense, there's some good, there's some bad here. Total defense is 15th, KC's is 14th, sorry. Running stopping the run, they're fourth best in the NFL in that category. Against the pass, they're 24th. That's certainly where the Chiefs are going to try to attack. They are fifth best in points allowed per game, allowing just 18 points a game. KC is eighth with 19 points per game allowed. As far as third downs go, they're 29th in that category, fourth worst, allowing a conversion rate of 45%, whereas the Chiefs offense, they're converting 39% of the time. So I think this is an opportunity for the Chiefs to improve on third down. And when it comes to the red zone, the Jaguars are pretty good at that. Fifth best in red zone defense. When you look at their defense, they've got a lot of interesting names here, names you've probably never heard of, but they've had a lot of guys shine so far in the early part of this season, in the first quarter of this season. Devin Lloyd, who is the reigning AFC Defensive Player of the Week and Defensive Player of the Month. He has 3 picks on the year so far. That ties Bear safety Kevin Byard for the most this season, and he had 2 picks last week, hence why he won AFC Defensive Player of the Week honors. They also have a really good cornerback by the name of Jordan Lewis, who has 2 picks and also 6 pass deflections. Those 6 pass deflections are tied for the third most in the league. The Jaguars as a unit, as a defensive unit, they have 9 picks. That's the most in the NFL right now. Part of that includes former 4th round selection for the Chiefs, Eric Murray. Eric Murray played for the Chiefs from 2016 to 2018. He's got a pick on the season. That's his 4th career interception. Only had 1 with Kansas City. After the Chiefs, he spent 1 year in Cleveland and then 5 in Houston. This is his first year with the Jaguars, and he's gotten in on the pick party for the Jags defense this season. Safety Andrew Wingard, he has an interception. He took back 39 yards. No pick sixes on this defense yet, despite having that many, more than any other defense. They have not had a pick 6 this season yet. Foysaid Olokin, a linebacker to keep an eye on in this game. He's got a pair of forced fumbles and a fumble recovery and a tackle for a loss. So a very aggressive linebacker there. Eric Armstead, a good defensive tackle. The Chiefs have faced a lot of good defensive tackles this season. Armstead's another one of them. He leads the team with 2.5 sacks. Trayvon Walker, he's got a pair of sacks, but he just had wrist surgery. So we will see if he's going to be available. Again, the expectation is he will play this season. So we'll have to keep an eye on that as the week goes on. I have not mentioned this name, surprisingly, Josh Hines Allen, who's been very good for the Jags, but he's only got half a sack this season. When you look at his career overall, he was a top 10 pick for the Jags in 2019. Last year he had 8 sacks. The year before he had 17 and a half, 7 sacks, 7 and a half, 2.5 sacks his sophomore season where he only played 8 games, 10 and a half sacks his rookie season. He's got 53 and a half sacks in his career so far, but he's only got half a sack this season. This is the slowest start he's probably had in his career. So I would imagine he's going to try to get going in this game. Obviously, the Chiefs have a rookie left tackle in Josh Simmons, and they've also got an inconsistent right tackle in Jawan Taylor, which, by the way, congrats to him. He got engaged this week. And I've already seen the comments. Somebody made the comment that he got up from his knee too early. Not going to lie, that's actually funny. But yeah, congratulations to Jawan Taylor, but he might have his hands full this weekend when he goes up against Josh Hines Allen. Used to be Josh Allen. I don't know why he changed his name. I know he gave the reason. I would imagine part of the reason is because he doesn't want to be confused with the other Josh Allen, but that's just my opinion. But yeah, he's a part of this defense as well. You can't ever dismiss him. Yeah, he's gotten off to a slow start, but he can pick it up at any time. And given how good this defense has been, I know they haven't faced any great offenses this season, but you would have to think at some point, yeah, they faced Carolina. They faced the Bengals when Joe Burrow got hurt early in the game, I think in the second quarter. They faced the Texans, who are struggling this year immensely on offense. They just played the 49ers, who are missing some guys. You can't ever apologize with who you go up against. But I would imagine Josh Hines Allen gets going at some point. for the Jags defense, and they could use it, especially against a very good Chiefs offense that's going to utilize that pass attack, especially against a Jags defense where the secondary is not as good, and the Chiefs will try to find the weaknesses on that. Patrick Mahomes only has one pick this season, and that one pick was off Travis Kelce's hands against Philadelphia right at the goal line, if you remember. So that's going to be interesting. You've got 9 interceptions, and you're going up against a quarterback in Patrick Mahomes who's only thrown one pick, and that one pick is clearly not on him. So something's got to give in this game. I'm curious to see how it goes for the two sides. Quick look at the special teams unit for the Jaguars. I did not write down the name of the special teams coordinator. I'll look that up real quickly. I have all these notes about him, but forgot to put his name on here. But it is Heath Farwell. That's who it is. He's been with the Jaguars since 2022, so he was retained from the previous staff, which does happen on some coaching staffs. Previously in Buffalo as the special teams coordinator, then was an special teams assistant coordinator for the Panthers and also the Seahawks. Their kicker, Cam Little, 9 of 11 field goals, has made all 9 PATs. Logan Cook, their punter, their kick returner. They've got a couple different ones. They've got Tootin, they've got Allen, they've got Washington. They all handle kick return duties. Parker Washington, who we don't know if he's going to play or not, he had an 87-yard punt return touchdown against the 49ers. So, their special teams unit certainly will be ready to try to do what they need to do in a game like this that is expected to be close. So, cannot forget about special teams, especially in this game against the Jaguars. So, that is the Jacksonville Jaguars in a nutshell here. All right, you already know my score prediction. I'm going 23-20. I think Travis Etienne is going to have a very good game. I think he's going to have 100 yards rushing. That's going to be the first 100-yard rusher from a running back against Kansas City's defense in 30 games. So I think you're going to see that get snapped in this game here. So I think it makes it more important that Kansas City's offense is going to be consistent and they're going to take care of the football. That's what it's going to come down to. I think third down is also going to be key because the Jaguars, they're the 4th worst third down defense in the league. And I think that's where Kansas City is going to capitalize in this game. I think Mahomes will get a couple of touchdowns in this one here. I'm going to go 23-20 Kansas City. They'll go 3-2 and they'll be above 500 for the first time this season. So Marcel's asking, have they faced 2 4.2 and 1 4.3 speed? No, they have not. They faced a really good receiver unit in the Jaguars, but that was when Burrow went down. So not as much of a challenge when their starting quarterback goes down. So yeah, it's going to be interesting to see how they do against Kansas City's offense, which has really picked it up lately, especially with Worthy back. And I think that's going to pose some problems for that Jacksonville secondary. So 23-20, that is my score prediction. Appreciate you guys joining me on this episode of the Chiefs Zone Podcast. My name is Farzin Vasugian. Thank you all for joining me tonight. If you enjoyed any part of this podcast, please share it, like it, let your friends know about the podcast. If you joined in late and missed some of the live show, hey, that's okay. It's going to be archived shortly on Facebook, YouTube, and X. It's also going to be available on Apple and Spotify and anywhere else where you can download and listen to a podcast. So make sure you check that out. Otherwise, I'll be back tomorrow, 5 p.m. Central Time. We will do the Red Friday Q&A live chat. Come with your questions tomorrow. We'll answer all of them. Chiefs, NFL, non-Chiefs, whatever you want to talk about, we'll do it tomorrow during the Red Friday Q&A live chat, 5 p.m. Central Time. And then Monday, 3 p.m. Central Time, we will do our pregame live chat. Halftime, we'll do our halftime live stream. And then after the game, it's going to be a late Monday night, but we will do the Chiefs Zone Podcast recapping the game between the Chiefs and the Jaguars. Join me for then. I'm Farzin Vasugian. Peace out.